today we're looking at something a bit different, not just reading a book on writing. It feels more like studying architectural blueprints, actually. The source is called Constructing Effective Academic Essays. And what makes it so interesting and maybe really useful for you, the learner, is that it basically throws out all that vague writing advice completely. So our mission today, we're digging for the shortcuts, the quickest, most reliable ways to get structure based on this, well, this intensely rigid framework. If you're someone who sometimes freezes up, staring at the blank page, and you just need clear, measurable rules, like exactly where each piece goes,
then this is definitely for you.
yeah, this deep dive is kind of your manual for that. We want the absolute backbone of a solid, persuasive essay.
That's a great way to put it. Most guides, they say things like, make your thesis compelling.
Right. And what does that even mean, really? How do you measure compelling?
Exactly. You can't. But this source, it gives you the word count, the exact location in the paragraph. It gets rid of all that fluffy, subjective stuff. It's all about specific rules. Location, length, even the type of content. It's less like creative writing and more like, well, engineering an argument that's guaranteed to stand up.
Okay, I like that. Engineering an argument. So if we're building this machine, where do we start? The foundation.
It absolutely has to be the thesis statement.
Yeah.
Everything else is built on that. It dictates the whole structure.
Right. The thesis. Let's unpack that then. According to this guide, what are the hard, non-negotiable rules? The absolute must-dos.
Okay, so the requirements are incredibly tight. The core idea seems to be the shorter and clearer the foundation, the more stable everything else is. So first thing, the thesis must directly answer the research question you started with. No beating around the bush.
Yeah.
No hedging. Just the straight answer, your position.
Direct answer.
Got it.
And structurally, it's not just what you say, but where, isn't it?
Precisely. And this is totally non-negotiable in the guide. It absolutely has to be the very last sentence of your introductory paragraph.
The very last one. Okay.
It kind of acts as the final destination of that whole opening section. Transitions the reader into your argument.
Okay, that makes sense. But the really defining thing, the part that sounds like it takes the most work up front, that's the content and length.
That's the core constraint. It should not give any reasons for your position.
No, because...
Nope, none of that yet. That's for the body paragraphs. The thesis just makes the definitive statement. And here's the kicker, the rule that really shapes the whole essay. You have to aim for 5 to 10 words total.
Oh, okay. 5 to 10 words for an academic thesis.
I know, it sounds, well, almost ridiculously short, doesn't it?
It sounds really restrictive. I mean, how can you possibly boil down a complex idea, like, I don't know, the nuances of economic policy or something, to just 10 words? Doesn't that just guarantee a simplistic paper?
That's a really good question, a fair challenge. But the guide argues that the extreme brevity is actually the whole point. They see it as a commitment device.
Commitment device. Explain that.
Well, if you, the writer, are forced to distill your entire argument down to that 10-word limit, let's say, something like, urban sprawl increases infrastructure maintenance costs. You have no choice but to achieve maximum clarity, maximum focus, right at the very beginning.
So it kind of locks you in, creates a box you can't really deviate from later.
Exactly that. With only 10 words, there's no room for ambiguity. You commit fully. That one sharp, focused idea. It forces you to do a lot of deep thinking before you even start writing the essay itself. It's meant to stop the argument from wandering off later.
Okay. I can see the logic there. It's like a really harsh clarity filter. You set your compass direction with one short, sharp sentence.
That's a good way to think about it, a clarity filter.
All right, so we've got our anchor, this hyper-concise 5 to 10 word thesis locked in. Now, how do we actually lead the reader to that point? What about the intro itself, the hook?
The introduction. Well, the guide dictates a very specific and honestly kind of a manipulative opening strategy. It says the intro must begin with a relevant story from the news.
A news story, not general background or theory or definitions first.
Yeah, a specific contemporary anecdote, something happening now.
Okay, but wait a second. The guide also says, and this is interesting, that the story should preferably be about someone negatively affected by whatever the issue is. Doesn't that kind of stack the deck, introduce emotional bias right from sentence 1? Especially for an academic piece.
Oh, it absolutely does. Yeah. And the source material doesn't really hide that. It seems to be clearly prioritizing persuasive rhetoric over, say, purely objective, dry reporting.
So the method is lead with the human cost, make it feel urgent.
That seems to be the strategy. If you start with statistics, you appeal to logic. But if you start with someone's struggle,
You appeal to emotion and grab their attention.
exactly, this structure definitely prioritizes engagement right away.
So the essay is designed to immediately create that sense of urgency, make it relatable. It shifts it from abstract theory to, like, a real problem needing a fix.
A fix which, conveniently, your 10-word thesis will provide.
Right.
And this story isn't just decoration either. There are rules. The guide mandates documentation. The story has to be cited.
Makes sense?
And ideally, you should use a quotation from that news story, because that quoted line then gives you the perfect required spot for your in-text citation. Builds credibility right there.
Okay, so the intro sequence is totally mapped out then. High-impact news story, quote, focusing on negative impact.
Cited.
Cited, yes. All leading straight to that super concise 5 to 10 word thesis statement right at the very end.
Every piece has its place. It's a formula. Maximum emotional resonance followed by maximum structural clarity.
Okay, we've got the hook, we got the anchor. Now let's get into the engine room, the body paragraphs, the why behind the thesis.
Right, the argumentative engine. And surprise, surprise, it follows an equally rigid structure.
Starting with the topic sentence, I assume?
Correct. And the topic sentence for each body paragraph has one very specific job. It must answer the question why, as in, why is your main thesis, that 10-word claim, actually true? Each paragraph gives one clear reason.
And let me take a wild guess. There's a word count limit again.
You got it. Just like the main thesis, the topic sentence needs to be super concise. Aim for that same range, 5 to 10 words.
Wow, okay. So even the reason supporting the thesis has to be boiled down that tightly.
Yeah, the logic seems to be, if you can't state your supporting reason clearly in 10 words or less, then maybe that reason itself is too fuzzy or too complicated for this kind of sharp, focused essay. It's like a self-check.
Forces you to make sure each reason is just one single hard-hitting point. Okay, so short topic sentence stating the why. What comes immediately after that? This is where the structure gets really specific, isn't it?
It really does. This is quite unique. The very first piece of evidence you have to present must be a citing quotation from an expert.
An expert quote.
And this expert's quote has to directly support that topic sentence, that specific why.
And the type of content in that quote is crucial here, right? This part surprised me.
Yes. This is the bit that feels rhetorically inverted. The expert quote must express an opinion or a claim.
An opinion, not a fact.
Not a cold, hard fact. Not initially. You lead with the expert's judgment, their perspective, their claim.
So, opinion first, then fact. That seems really counterintuitive. We're usually taught to lead with the data, the evidence.
I know. It feels backwards to a lot of us. But think about the persuasive effect. You're basically signaling to the reader, look, the smart people, the authorities in this field, they agree with this reason.
And now I'm going to show you the numbers that prove they're right.
Precisely. You establish the intellectual framework first.
Yeah.
You use the expert status to kind of pre-validate the data that's coming next.
Okay. So it's about framing. Establish the consensus view, then bring in the proof. So after that expert opinion.
Immediately after. The structure demands it. You must then support the expert's opinion with a statistic.
From a credible source, like a study.
Yes, a statistic from a credible academic study. That's their required 1-2 punch.
Expert opinion first, the authority setting the stage.
Followed immediately by the academic statistic, the data providing the hard proof.
So the flow is brief topic sentence, why, then expert opinion, quote, claim, then academic statistic proof.
That's the core sequence you must follow at the start of the paragraph. After you've laid down those 2 required pieces, then you continue building the case. You bring in additional facts, maybe compare statistics, add other expert testimony, whatever you need to fully support that topic sentence, that one reason. Make sure the point is really solid before you wrap up the paragraph.
Right, you fully substantiate that single point before moving on.
Exactly.
Okay, let's pull this all together. We've basically dissected a very, very focused, almost mechanical way to build an essay. The strongest theme seems to be this demand for extreme brevity, that 5 to 10 word limit right at the crucial points.
Yeah, the thesis statement and every single topic sentence.
Yeah.
Maximum conciseness as the anchors.
Holds the whole structure tight.
And then you've got those 2 really distinct rhetorical choices built into the system. First, making you start the whole essay with that negative human story. That immediate emotional connection.
Right, hitting the reader with the human cost up front.
And second, in the body paragraphs, that very deliberate sequence. Opinion first, then the hard data.
Yeah, it's definitely a strategy. It's prioritizing that emotional engagement and establishing expert agreement before you even present the numbers.
It's an exercise in building a case with real rhetorical force, following a strict plan. And for you, the learner, it means you know exactly what job every single sentence has to do. It takes away the guesswork, gives you a six
It
pass.
eliminates that what do I write
Yeah.
next feeling. Okay. So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've looked at this incredibly strict, almost formulaic approach, but here's a final thought to maybe chew on. We often think academic essays need complexity, nuance, exploring the gray areas, right? So the question is, how might forcing your main argument into that tight 5 to 10 word box potentially limit that? Does it risk oversimplifying things?
That's the real tension there, isn't it?
It is, but conversely, could there be a huge benefit? Maybe even a kind of freedom in having such clear, strict rules, especially when you're facing a really complex or overwhelming topic.
It might be worth just trying it out as an
Yeah.
experiment. Take a complex idea you're grappling with, maybe for work, maybe for study. Try to force its main argument and maybe 2 or 3 key supporting reasons into that 5 to 10 word limit. See what happens.
And maybe even try that evidence order. Lead with an expert's claim before you give a statistic.
Yeah, give it a go. You might be surprised, even if you never use the full structure exactly like this guide says, the exercise itself could be incredible.